Hello and welcome to Take This TV, the television book club podcast, where each week we talk about an episode or two of our favorite shows and we talk about them with our friends in the fandom. That's you. It's you. Oh my gosh. Hello. I'm Carmen Askernes and I'm joined as always by Kimberly Woods. Hello.
Hello, hot potatoes.
This season we're watching Shogun. What episode are we talking about today?
Today we're on episode 4, and it's called The Eightfold Fence. Blackthorn and Mariko test their new alliance as they train Torunaga's gun regiment for war. Yabushige must navigate his past promises to Ishido when an old friend comes to the village. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. I definitely love Mariko's description of the Eightfold Fence and like that whole like mindset. And for Blackthorn, it's more like a chain link fence or like a old rickety wooden fence or something like that.
Yeah, it's really funny. This episode, we start with Torunaga arriving at Aduro, the fishing village, and he's greeted by all of Yabushige's men, which is a sight to see.
Yeah, we have that moment where like Blackthorn is like, whose army is that? And Mariko tells her it's Yabushige's and they're all loyal to Torunaga. And he's like, well, I hope so. And it's like, uh-oh, what does that mean?
Yeah, that's a lot of men. There's this great moment when all of the men are cheering Yabushige's name, and then Torunaga gives a speech and they begin chanting his name, which I absolutely loved because it's like, all right, yep, they're showing their dedication to him. And then we get this look from Yabushige who's like, oh boy. Oh boy, he's got their loyalty.
Man of the people.
And at this point, Yabushige is worried that he's tied his fate to the losing side by being here with Torunaga, because he's learned that Torunaga has resigned his seat on the council, which he thinks is like, that's just death. So.
Yeah, because Torunaga's son, Nagakato, thank you. He kind of gives up the game a little bit on the boat because he mentions that Torunaga resigned, and Yabushige is like, "What? I didn't know about that." And I love that. Like Torunaga is so great because I feel like we have those moments where we kind of see him telling his plan to his council, like his close, the people in his close circle. But then we have those other moments like this episode where he just shows up and then he leaves and he's like, I've been called away on business. Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. And everybody's like, wait, what? You just got here. Yeah, I love the lady
but
who's
his son knew. What?
Oh, the lady who in the village when they first get there, she's like, we should have gotten the good sake. And then when he's leaving, she's like, we should have got the cheap sake.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's very quickly off again. Likely heading to Edo. And we learn that he also has Blackthorn's men with him. Because Blackthorn, who's very surprised by this too, is very quickly in this episode like being like, hey, like you said that I'd get my men back, I'd get my ship back, that was the deal. Which to me, like, okay, that was not the deal. Like, maybe eventually, but I don't know why he thought like immediately he'd get his men back, his ship back. I was kind of like, okay, chill out, buddy. Like, you got a house, you got a salary, you got a consort, you're alive.
You're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Come on now.
I mean, it definitely, Blackthorn's a little too gullible, and we see that even though he's getting closer with Lord Torunaga, he's just starting to, he's slow on the uptake about the game that he's trapped in, or that he's a pawn in, and he thinks that he's just a prisoner in a gilded cage now, because Mariko tells him that he shouldn't refuse because it'd be a great insult to Lord Torunaga. And he's like, well, I do refuse. That wasn't the deal.
Oh my gosh. This is like my favorite scene. Fuji does not want to do this either when she gets told that she's going to be Blackthorn's consort. And so the moment when like Blackthorn is throwing his tantrum about he doesn't want any of this, this is my favorite line of the episode because she Mariko is telling him, like, he's going to get the salary, and he's like, I don't want any generous cuckoos, or cuckoos, or whatever he says. I don't want any generous
he says
cuckoos.
Yeah.
And then she's trying to, like, be like, well, you have, Fuji, and he's like, I don't want to pillow her, I don't want to pillow on her, I don't want to pillow near her, I don't want to pillow at all. It's like, oh my god, it's Dr. Seuss. I do not want green eggs and ham. I do not want them.
Yeah, Blackthorn's really annoyed. And he definitely, like, it makes me think back to the scene where he was in prison talking to the old priest who was telling him that, like, you're in over your head trying to play politics in a country that you're a stranger in. And we really see that coming to fruition now.
He gets that handed to him right now. And he's throwing some tantrums. He's like, why is this culture like this? Trying to, like, not having to step on the grass or whatever. Like, Blackthorn, chill out.
Mariko was telling him about Fuji, and he was telling him that Fuji is a widow and is in mourning or whatever, and how they mourn is to continue on the legacy of the people who have died. And Blackthorn's like, that's stupid. That's a dumb custom. It's like, yeah. I also love when they first get there, and they're being greeted by everyone, and Omi is there, and we sort of see Blackthorn and Omi have this really tense interaction, and Blackthorn's cursing at him in English because Omi can't understand, but Mariko is running interference with the translation.
Yeah. It's hilarious. Mariko gives Blackthorn his guns from the ship, so she does go for him and get those. And we have this beautiful scene where it's raining, and Mariko comes and kind of sits with Blackthorn and tells him about the Eightfold Fence. And basically, it's this fence you build that you guard your emotions behind. And she's saying, like, you can focus on other things like the rain or the rocks, and, your emotions will disappear behind this fence. And I thought that was really a lovely sort of analogy.
Yeah, it also gives us some insight into how Mariko sort of moves through the world and is able to survive in the system. And we we get a lot of Marithorn in this episode, and I think this is like one of the better moments that we've seen so far, of just like her opening up to Blackthorn and sharing a bit of her beliefs and her way of life with him.
And a way to cope, which I do think it helps him, because later on, we do see him trying to make an effort to train these men that he's supposed to be training. Although before we get to that, I think the next morning is when we have the wonderful moment with Fuji, where Omi is there trying to say that Blackthorn can't come with his guns. And he's like, why? You have swords. Why can't I have my weapons? And Fuji tries to de-escalate the situation and says she'll take the guns, and she'll take good care of them, and, she'll make sure that they're guarded. Still, Omi tries to take them from her, and then she, like, raises the gun and faces off with him, and that's a really badass, cool moment for her.
Yeah, Blackthorn was really surprised. He was like, oh, I have allies.
I thought it was really cool, too. I don't know the cultural element of this, but the fact that she did it without touching the weapons, like with her sleeves, she, like, cocked it and held it up, and I was like, that is so badass.
Yeah. I really like Fuji. I think she's one of my favorites.
Yeah. We get to see some scenes where Blackthorn is training the men. He kind of fumbles during the first scene because we learn that he doesn't have much experience, really, with guns, And Mariko is, like, trying to help him out during the translation. Yeah. She's like, you're kind of naming a story that you weren't involved in. Like, that was, like, before you were born. Maybe pick something.
Yeah, he's like talking about a historical battle. She's like, tell us about a fight that you were actually in.
But then he quickly, like, realizes, too, because they already have experience with Portuguese guns. So it's like he can't really teach them stuff that they don't know already. So then he pivots to naval warfare and cannons.
Yeah, which is something, his area of expertise. And at first, Yabushige doesn't believe him that the cannons would be better options than using the rifles. But thanks to Blackthorn's quick thinking and he's really accurate. I was like, what is that called? Is that trigonometry? Whenever he's like, all right, move the cannon this many degrees or whatever it's called. But Blackthorn is very knowledgeable about how to use cannons and shows them that they can be a useful tool for sieges. I mean, also just for any kind of warfare.
Yep, Yabushige was impressed. We have the very funny dinner moment that happens after that. Is that where they're eating natto?
I don't
fermented
know
soybean.
Oh, fermented
I looked it up.
soy.
It's fermented soybean, which has a very particular strong taste.
Oh, sounds gross.
But finally, Blackthorn is like, he's calmed down. He's willing to, he's not being like, oh, this is dumb. He actually wants to try this dish, even though, Mariko and Fuji are like, you're not going to like this. What are you? Yeah. You don't really want this. But they let him try it, and he seems to kind of like it, I think. I don't know, unless he's lying. But he says it's like stinky cheese.
Yeah, he seemed like he was enjoying it because he was really scarfing it down. And we also get that really great moment where he gives Fuji one of his guns. And then she gives him her father's swords, which is big.
Huge.
Yeah. And I really also love that Mariko just adds in while she's translating, like, you actually shouldn't be walking around without swords, because what did they name him? Is it? Oh
yeah.
It's something with an H. I want to say like. No, I'm not gonna guess. It's something with an H. But anyway, he has a new title now that Lord Torunaga has bestowed upon him, and with this title, it's uncommon for someone with this title to walk around without swords. So this is also beneficial for him to like sort of have rank and stature and respect amongst the other folks around town. And it's just a great moment of bonding between him and Fuji and Mariko. I love their little trio that they got going on.
Me too. It's so great. There's so many great scenes. I wrote down one of my favorite scenes is the hot springs scene.
When Mariko finds her cheeks out.
Yeah, Mariko sees them on full display.
A little preview. She's like, oh.
Yeah.
Hello.
He has wandered off, and I guess, I don't know why he thinks he can just wander off by himself without anybody following him at this point. Come on. But she comes and follows him, gets to see this, sight before her. He quickly, gets down in the hot springs. And we get this really cool moment where we learn a little bit more about Mariko and her backstory. She opens up and she shares that her family name is well known in Japan and that a great injustice took everything from her, and Torunaga has offered her a resolution.
What do you think it was?
I don't know. I mean, we get a glimpse of her father, and we know her father got killed. And then we see her in the snow or something, in white, which I think might be mourning.
I have a theory.
I don't know. What's your theory, Carmen?
My theory is the former Taiko killed her father and essentially, like, forced her to be a part of his court or whatever. And I feel like Ishido and maybe some of the other lords were probably in on it. And so she kind of has like this vendetta to try to get revenge on these people. Because, I mean, we learned that the Taiko was like, there was a like notion that he may have been poisoned, right? Or something like that. Or was it that he got hurt?
There was some attack that happened that seemed to be tied. We just learned something about this, right?
It was like an episode or two ago when they learned about the black ship's actual. Was it the Portuguese? Intentions. Yeah, the Portuguese outpost
that were involved in some sort of attack. Yeah, on the Taiko, I think.
And so my theory is like, so we know that Mariko has been working with Martine to like learn to speak English and Portuguese or whatever, and that she's been working with the church. But like, I feel like she's not like really devout like a lot of the other religious characters are. And so I feel like it's a means to an end for her And I don't know. I just feel like she's, because especially after she explained the Eightfold Fence, I was like, I feel like Mariko is like on a revenge quest. So
she also mentions right before that kind of backstory point that she doesn't serve that master. Kind of talking about Christianity in particular, because in this episode she finds Blackthorn's books and she finds out that he's, you know, been responsible for burning Christian sites on his way here. And I thought, like, if she truly was devout, that might be a point of contention. I was like, uh-oh.
Be a deal breaker.
Then it wasn't, clearly, in this episode.
I mean...
clearly that wasn't a deal breaker for her, so... I do think you're right, that maybe she sees it as a means of playing the game. You know? Or a means of access, or something. I do think that there's... You know, it's a part of a bigger plan.
So I have a follow-up question for you then. Do you think that she actually is like having feelings for Blackthorn, or do you think she sees him as like a tool that she could use to get the things that she wants? I don't know. I never even thought about it that way until we just started talking about it. But I was like, I mean, she's the only one who can talk to him. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's true. Maybe both.
Maybe both.
I do think there's chemistry there for her.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Marithorn is strong in the Force. Strong in the thirst.
I think it's both. I think right now they're aligned. It's like the feelings and the possible use as a tool are aligned at the moment. There's also that moment during the episode, which is interesting, where she's like watching him when he's giving lessons to the men. And they have this like, just with a look, this sort of exchange. And I was like, what is happening? And she like looks down, like, because he's caught her looking at him.
Yeah. I thought that was really cute.
Before the hot springs, and I was like,
It's just like if you have a crush on somebody and they catch you just like looking at them, it's like, oh, no, let me look away real quick.
Yeah. And that didn't seem calculated to me. So, yeah, I feel like she does have actual feelings.
So Marithorn is genuine.
I think so.
Oh.
I think so. I love his response. At first I was like, be quiet, just let her talk, because I thought maybe she might keep going on. He like jumps in, like, what resolution? When she says that, you know, Torunaga's offered her resolution. I was like, shh, you should have just let her keep talking. And then he's like dismisses that, and he's like, wait a second, I see so much woman in front of me, and you don't owe me an explanation.
And she was like, that's hot.
Yeah. And then they talk about, you know, I think she asks him, like, what would we do in London? Like, if I was back there with you in London. And he's like, we'd go see the king.
Yeah, the queen, yeah.
Or we'd go see the queen. Then we'd go to a play. And then we'd go for a walk along the river. And she's like, I love that, like,
after he says, like, we go for a play or whatever. And she's like, well, then what? And I was like...
And then pillow? I know. I was like, and then pillow?
Right.
And then he says a walk.
Right. I was like, is he trying to be a gentleman or is he dumb? Both. It's both.
Yeah. I think he was trying to be a gentleman.
A himbo.
We know what he was thinking. I think he was thinking it at that point.
Oh, yeah. We all were.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Then we get this curious sequence of events that happen where we see Mariko in her area of the house. We see Blackthorn fast asleep. Snoring, like out cold. I was like, okay, he's relaxed now. And Fuji leaves him. And then somebody else comes in. And I was like, who is that?
Oh, is it? It's really dark.
Who is it? I know. At first I was like, what's happening? Is it Kiku or Kiku? What's her name? Kiku?
Oh,
the consort for, you know.
for
Yabushige.
Oh, Yabushige's consort. I thought that was Omi's consort.
Oh, is it Omi's consort?
Well, because we see...
I know she's messing around with Omi.
Oh, okay. So
but
I
wasn't
thought they were
she
together,
like... I thought that she was actually... Well, maybe she's supposed to be both.
I don't know.
During that first episode, she was sent in there for him, but then she was making out with Omi in front of him or something?
Oh, because she learned that Yabushige is a voyeur.
Yeah.
Well, it was the attendant that she was pleasuring, and Yabushige wanted to watch.
Yeah. But she was sent to Yabushige then.
That's right. And then I think that after he left, because Omi is like taking care of the village while Yabushige's gone or something, that I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been her, but
anyway, at first that's what I was like, what's happening? Oh my gosh. And then we find out that it's Mariko. I was not expecting it so soon. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna let the ship keep going for a while, like they're gonna build the tension. I was caught off guard that we got this in this episode.
So was Blackthorn. I love that he just kind of wakes up like, huh? Oh, okay. Just kind of goes along.
I love it. She was not playing around.
Nope, she goes for it.
She came in and took charge, and I was like, I am here for this.
Thorn is official.
It's happened.
Oh my gosh, it finally happened. It was very spicy. It was good.
It was good. It was so good. I love the next morning. Blackthorn's like, good morning.
Subtle at all.
He's in such a good mood. It's so cute.
Yeah. And Mariko's like, I'm glad you had a good time with that concert that Fuji and I decided to send to you, just like trying to play it off.
Yeah. Because he was like trying to bring it up, and she was like, you mean the consort that we sent to you? And then he gets the hint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Meanwhile, after that, we kind of, at some point, Ishido's men arrive. Mm-hmm. Josen, in particular. Yabushige is like, stay, we'll show you what these cannons can do, like, we're preparing them. And he's basically trying to play both sides again, like, trying to be like, maybe Ishido could use this. Let me show you what they can do.
Yeah, because Yabushige gets an invite to go to the palace, essentially to commit seppuku. And he's like, well, I don't want to die. So,
yeah.
He's out here trying to dodge the Reaper, yeah.
Yeah. And then we get Omi and Nagakato kind of, scheming a little bit.
Well, Omi is playing
Omi's
Nagakato.
Like, yeah, he's like, should we contact your daddy? Should I reach out to your daddy to solve this? Yeah. And Nagakato's like, no, I will handle it.
I'm the man of the house.
I'm like, oh no.
You're dumb, kid.
No. Torunaga sees so far ahead, but apparently was a little bit blinded when it comes to his son.
His son is not his father.
No. So they're supposed to be putting on this display. And Nagakato surely gives them a display. A display of their innards.
I was so shook when that happened. Like, I was like, what is he gonna challenge is he gonna challenge him to a duel or something? Like, what's gonna happen? And then Josen and his men get blasted with the cannons, and I was like, oh my gosh, and people's guts are like the horse is exploding and stuff. And I was like, oh shoot.
It's brutal.
We were talking before about like how this show does a good job of focusing on the characters and not relying on like the violence and sex and gore and stuff. And so when there are moments like this, I feel like it hits more because it's just like, whoa. Things just like went from 0 to 100 so fast. Yep.
And it's definitely like, Torunaga has spent so much time kind of like making his chess moves. Yeah. And we learned too that like, Torunaga's the type of guy who waits for his enemy to make a mistake.
He never makes the first move.
His son has made this blatant act of aggression that just means, okay, it's time for war. Like, there's no going back from this.
Shot the Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Shots fired.
Yeah. And like Yabushige is going for the Oscar because he's like, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, who orchestrated this attack?
Yabushige, he keeps trying to play both sides. I don't know when he's gonna realize. I guess right now he has to realize, like, come on, dude, you're like stuck over here.
Well, because
Your destiny is
Nagakado
tied.
is like, it was me. I did all of this. And there were witnesses. Then Yabushige has an out with Ishido, so he could be like, hey, it wasn't me, man. I was trying to do the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not looking good for him.
No, he's definitely going to bite the dust at some point. He's in bad shape. And,
we'll see. And this was supposed to be like a 6 month training program over here.
We don't know how long it's been, but yeah.
That's true. But Mariko, whatever the timeline is, it seems to have gotten accelerated.
And Mariko says this means war. So it's like, oh, shoot. Oh, shoot.
Yep. Well, Carmen, are you still loving the show?
Dude, I love it. It's like, after I finished this episode, I was like, I have to know what's going to happen next. Where's Torunaga? So, yeah, it's great.
I can't wait to get Torunaga's reaction to all this.
Yeah. Are you loving it?
Oh, my gosh. This is seriously one of my favorite shows on TV right now. I am loving every episode and all the characters.
Heck yeah. So good.
I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're at Take This TV on Instagram and TikTok. Leave us a comment, write a review. And remember, it's dangerous to watch TV alone.